So now that we've got a background on Nmap and what ports are, let's take a look at actually doing some scanning. So the first thing I'm going to do is say Nmap, and I need to determine the type of scan that I want to do. So a common scan is a SYN scan. Now, what a SYN scan does is it sends out a SYN message or a synchronized message to the target system using the TCP IP stack and the first part of a three-way handshake. What we expect back from an open port is a SYN ACK. So what the target system is saying is, I acknowledge your SYN and I send a SYN of my own. This is sometimes called a half open scan because what happens at that point is we just reset the connection and we never finish the three-way handshake to complete the connection. What I can do is I can say 192.168.86.1, which happens to be the router on my local network. It shows that there are 3 ports that are open and there are 997 closed ports. As mentioned before, we could say minus P 1 through 65535 and just scan everything. The shorthanded way of doing that is to just say dash P dash, and that says scan all of the ports. So we're doing a SYN scan on that host. Now, you may be thinking here that we're just scanning one host, and that really gets kind of tedious if you need to do one host at a time. I don't, though. I could do a couple of different things. So I could use classless interdomain routing notation or CIDR notation, which indicates the number of bits in the subnet mask, in this case 24. So that would be 255.255.255.0. And I could say I'm going to scan the entire network here. And I'm not actually going to scan all of the ports on the network. I want it to go a little bit faster than that. What I can do there is just say, I'm going to scan everything, and now I'm going to get responses from all of the hosts on the network so that I can see what all of the hosts on my network are. So this is actually going to take some time because there are a number of hosts, and it's going to take a while to even go through the hosts that don't exist because there are going to be IP addresses that we check and there's not going to be anything there, but we're going to check them anyway because we don't know. So we do pings in order to determine whether they are up or not. And if they aren't, then we don't bother checking. But one ping may not tell you whether a host is up. So anyway, there are retry attempts, and it can take a while to scan an entire network. Another way of doing this is I could say, let's say 40 through 45. So I'm going to scan just IP addresses dot 40 through dot 45. And in this case, I've got 2 responses back. So I've got 41, which tells me that it's a VMware host. And I've got dot 45, which says this is a Sonos host. What Nmap is doing is it's looking up these first 3 octets from the MAC address, and it's using the organizationally unique identifier there, those 3 bytes, to determine what the vendor is. So these 3 bytes will tell you what vendor owns that MAC address. So there's nothing magic here. It's not getting this from the host itself. It's doing a lookup from the 3 bytes in the MAC address. You could do a range of IP addresses, or you could do an entire network using, as I said, the CIDR notation. And that's a couple of ways that you can do more than one host at a time when you're doing your scanning.